Hey, this is Mike from RFIDLinked, and today we'll be setting up a Chainway CP30 RFID printer. I will go over how to connect your printer and do a breakdown on the initial ribbon and tag loading process. To start off, each RFID-linked bundle comes with a thermal transfer ribbon as well as ARC-compatible tags to get you started printing. You also have a power and a USB data transfer cable with each bundle. A wireless module already comes pre-installed, so you don't have to worry about that. Starting off with the front, we have a power button, printer feed button, a 3.5-inch LCD touch display, and lastly, two LED indicator lights. On each side of the printer, we have release buttons that allow us to open the printer's clamshell to load the ribbon and tags. Now, on the back of the printer, we're going to have an external spool feed port, a USB-A header, USB-B header, RJ45 network port, and a power jack. And before we move on, we're going to connect our USB and power cables to the printer. Now that we're connected, we can go ahead and open the printer's clamshell. Every printer comes with a few handy guides on the inside as to how to load it. Depending on your configuration, you can always have a solid point of reference anytime you need to make a change or when replacing parts. In the back of the printer, you have an adjustable tag holder that we will dive into a bit later in the video, and towards the front, we have our ribbon carrier. We'll go ahead and open it by pushing on the two yellow tabs at the front and remove the test label from the printer. So once we got our ribbon carrier opened up, we're going to load up the ribbon and talk about the proper orientation and how the spool inserts into the carrier. Each spool holder has a keyed side, and the squared openings can only go in one way inside the carrier. We're going to insert the holder's square portion from the left side of the ribbon and make sure that it feeds the empty roll from the bottom. Once we got those on, it should look something like this. At any point during this process, you can reference the diagram to make sure it's oriented correctly. To load the ribbon inside the carrier, we're going to take the empty roll and insert it from the top while matching the square side to the one on the carrier. The opposite side of the roll should just slot in. The spring within the insert will have enough tension to keep it in place. For the ribbon itself, we're going to repeat the process, but this time from the bottom of the carrier. Once we have the ribbon secured, we can take out some slack by adjusting the yellow wheels on the carrier. Before installing our included tags, you can reference the diagram on the bottom of the printer to make sure that your tags or labels are inserted in the correct orientation. The adjustable tag holder can be released by pulling up on the yellow tab and secured by pushing it back down. Now we will install our spool of ARC approved tags and secure it by pressing down on the yellow tab. To make sure that our tags are going to be securely fed through the printer, we must secure them with guides right underneath the ribbon carrier. Simply adjust the width to fit your tag size and make sure it is feeding through without getting snagged. And now that we got our tags and ribbon secured inside the printer, we can go ahead and close the carrier as well as the clamshell. Now we're going to go ahead and power on the printer, making sure that we hold down the power button for at least 3 seconds. Before going through the initial setup, we will go over the display and our options. On the top left corner, you can reference the firmware version as well as your connectivity status on the right. Starting from the bottom left, you have printer settings, testing, configuration info, and smart printing options. Now we're going to select settings and press the printer setup option. In the menu, we can see that the printer method is pre-configured to TT or thermal transfer. If your printer is set to direct thermal, you can switch it now. The default rotation is set to 180 and is correct in our case, and we can go ahead and save. We will select label setup option and make sure that our label type corresponds to what we have installed. In this case, we have labels with gaps in between, and we're going to go ahead and save this option. In the next step, we will select RFID setup and choose the calibration option. This will begin the process of feeding the tags through the printer and detecting the chip on our tag. Once the process is complete, the printer will feed additional tags. Before we exit, we are going to go ahead and save. To wrap up, the Chainway CP30 RFID printer is an easy to set up, inexpensive, reliable solution for printing RFID labels, packed with features that punches above its weight class. In the next video, we will go over how you can pair your printer to your Chainway RFID scanner and create custom RFID tags. If you're looking to buy one of these printers or a complete bundle, I will leave a link in the description. If you have any questions or would like to learn more about this bundle, please visit us at rfidlinked.com.